Good afternoon for all ladies and gentlemen, for all the participants for our third day of the Global Arts Creativity Conference, Bali-Bhuwana Waskita of Isi Denpasar. Thank you for rejoining us here in the same link of the Zoom platform of Isi Denpasar. And next, we will have the discussions furthermore again for the presentations of our next speaker, which will be guided by our beautiful moderator, Ibu Ninyomanlia Susanti, SSMA. Without any further ado, please, the time is yours.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests and participants, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to express my gratitude for Master of Ceremony for today's, Ibu Dewi Cempaka, that give an opportunity to me to moderate the Global Art Creativity Conference, Bali-Bhuwana Waskita, that held today, Thursday, 30 September 2021. Today is the third session and also the last day of the International Conference. Even during the pandemic, Isi Denpasar is still active in holding several activities, one of which is an international seminar that held virtually. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, allow me to say Balinese greeting, Om Swastiastu, that means peace for all of you. And introducing, my name is Nyomanlia Susanti. I'm as your moderator for today's, and on this special occasion, I'd like to greet all distinguished speakers. We have 4 speakers for today's, are Ibu Savitri Sastrawan MA, and then the second speaker is Bapak Iketut Suparto MSI. Third speaker, Ibu Sri Wahyuning Septarina MDS. And then the last speaker is Ibu Rosa Rosida. Welcome to our seminar. And distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on this special occasion, on this conference, we divide into 2 segments. Those are, first segment is panel seminar by cold paper speaker. And I remind you, for speaker, each speaker has 10 minutes to present her or his presentation. The second segment is Q&A session or question and answer segment. If you have any question, you can write down your question via chat room. Well, coming up next, we enter the first segment. So we would like to invite first speaker, Ibu Savitri Sastrawan MA, to convey her presentation entitled A Heritage to Open More Conversation, the case of Ide Bagus Nyanes, Dewi Pertiwi Sculptures. Savitri Sastrawan MA is an art and language freelancer. She studies a Master in Global Art at Goldsmiths University of London, UK, and Fine Art Paintings at Indonesian Institute of the Art, Denpasar, Bali. Her research interest is to explore the interdisciplinary possibilities in the art and language within the global society and cultures. Well, Ibu Savitri Sastrawan, time is yours. Ibu Savitri, good afternoon. Okay, can you open your mic? Okay, good afternoon, Ibu Savitri. I can hear your voice. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. Okay. Ibu
Yeah,
Savitri.
sometimes my headphones error.
Okay. Please,
I'll
Ibu
start.
Savitri.
So good afternoon, I'm Savitri Sastrawan. I'm an Isi Denpasar alumni, as stated before, and now an independent art curator and writer based in Bali, if it's in the art side. So I would like to thank you, the committee of Bali-Bhuwana Waskita, for the opportunity given. So today I will present my paper as stated, A Heritage to Open More Conversations, the case of Ide Bagus Nyanes, Dewi Pertiwi Sculptures. So, in the midst of the 2020 pandemic, an intriguing writing project landed on me. I was uncertain of how it could be done with all the restrictions, as the project requires involvement of a heritage that needs to be observed directly. Yet gradually, it leads to encouraging better understanding of our position as humans in this current situation, and the heritage itself was Ide Bagus Nyana's sculptures. So Ide Bagus Nyana himself lived throughout 1912 to 1985. He comes from Desa Mas Ubud Gianyar, Bali. Maybe some of you are familiar with him. So today we can still see his house with the plaque, Gallery Nyana Tilam, Ide Bagus Nyana and San Ide Bagus Tilam Mas, or known as Nyana Tilam Gallery, in the area. Nyana is known to have a profound impact on Balinese art history, prominently as a wood sculptor, as you can see here. And until before 2020 pandemic, his house was still crowded by tourists looking for the finest wooden sculptures done by his family's artisans. During his lifetime, Nyana's works are on the market and would be sold in many souvenir shops in Denpasar that have existed since the 1920s. In Ubud, the founding of Pitamaha opened markets as well, where Nyana's work will be one of those with the highest price, as he is the maestro of the wooden sculptures. It was stated that Walter Spies once interacted with Nyana in 1928, where he suggested Nyana to simplify his wood by sanding, which from there Nyana found the wood fiber details very intriguing. So his style was then called papulungan, that defines simplicity and pure wood fiber, and many would follow his way of working afterwards in Desa Mas. With that, Nyana was stated to have introduced the Balinese sculptures modern style. So Nyana's early sculptures that we could see today in Bali were created in the 1930s, which shows a goddess figure in a sleek form, as you can see on the left. This contrasts the traditional sculpture style that would have a goddess figure stand straight and its body carved in a certain position, which you can see on the right. Through previous findings in writing on Ide Bagus Nyana for Pusaka Seni Rupa, in Bali, it is still typical that depictions of gods or goddesses are in traditional forms. As Nyana presented their Dewi in the Papulungan style, gives the perspective that such spiritual belief can be interpreted out of the traditional form or in your own interpretation or expression. So it seems that it was his background that shaped his artistic practice. Belonging to the Brahmana caste, as his name is Ide Bagus, and Nyana's daily lives would involve religious rituals. So these are examples that are in the book. So you can see offerings banten, religious statues pratima, and then dance mas tapa would be part of his daily lives. He also served God through religious ceremony dance or tariwali, tariwayang wang, which you can see on the right here. And this was taken in Pura Taman Pule, where he usually danced before. And as a traditional Balinese architect, he also does that as an undagi, which includes wood and stone carving in different temples. He also works in good days, or we call it Hari Dewasa or Hari Baik, based on the Balinese calendar. And Nyana did not have a formal education, so his source of knowledge comes from reading scriptures or lantar. Hence, the themes of his sculptures would include such spiritual influences, specifically on the goddess of earth or Dewi Pertiwi that he created several times. So one of the challenges when writing about Nyana last year is that there are not many of Nyana's works for public view in Bali. According to Nyana's grandson, Ide Bagus Ari Suryadi, the director of Nyana Til Museum, this was due to many of his works done from the 1930s up to 1950s being sold all over the globe, and only by 1963 or 1964, Nyana stopped selling his works. So today, you can find Nyana's works in his own family museum, Nyana Til Museum, Museum Puri Lukisan, Pura Taman Pule, which are all in Ubud, and Taman Wadi Budaya or Art Center in Denpasar. Interestingly, you can find the two Dewi Pertiwi wooden sculptures here in Bali. One that is created in 1933, which you can see on the left here. It's in Museum Puri Lukisan, and then the one in the middle, created in 1968 in Taman Wadi Budaya or Art Center. So the 1933 sculpture was said to be filled with surrealism and said to have mysterious narration. It was later observed that these narrations were not that mysterious. As previously stated, it actually came from Nyana's knowledge from the lantar, which means he really thought through and including on the goddess of earth narratives that have existed. So the 1933 here was after conversations with Balinese literature lecturer Putu Eka Gunayasa. He thinks that it comes from the Kakawin Ramatantra, which actually comes from, which is actually an ending part of Ramayana, the story Ramayana that has rarely been told, in which Sinta called Dewi Pertiwi by stomping the earth 3 times when she was doubted of her faithfulness to her husband, Rama. So here it said that usually people write it's a snake, but it could be actually a dragon. So the story was that she was picked up by the dragon and joined Dewi Pertiwi forever. So Sita herself comes from Siti Sundari, which means Pertiwi itself. And then the 1968 sculpture in the middle is the figure of Dewi Pertiwi with a boar. It is said to be inspired by Kakawin Bomantaka story, which tells the story of Boma, the son of Dewi Pertiwi and Dewa Wisnu, that has a scary form. So this story is an allegory of how the boar manifestation of Dewa Wisnu, known for his symbol as water, went to dig the earth of Dewi Pertiwi to create life and fertility. Hence, Boma, the sun, as a symbol of the forest grew and always in need of water. And then another Dewi Pertiwi interpretation that we could find is in Yana's family temple, which you can see on the most right. That one is very uncommon because it's placed on the bottom. It's not a sculpture, but it's actually a carving. So this is more of Nyana as an undagi. And according to Suryadi, here Dewi Pertiwi is shaped as if carrying the family's temple, reminding its existence as the earth. Hence, Nyana has been very imaginative, and even as undagi himself. So the recurrence of this Dewi Pertiwi as the goddess of Earth, of Mother Earth narrations show that this belief is important to Nyana. Therefore, it seems that Nyana's artworks is not only about how he successfully became the maestro with the highest price sold, rather it is about what he expressed as significant messages, in which through his Papurungan style of the wood he sculpted, on the wood he sculpted, in the Bagus Nyana reveals an expression and important meaning to our life through the virtue value which he grew up in. Nyana's works seem to encourage those interested to observe more and to find out more of his reasons of depicting Dewi Pertiwi than other gods or goddesses. So from the two sculptures in modern art entities, we could see that one of the pieces of knowledge that Nyana wants to pass through, it reflects the importance of protecting the earth's fertility created from the union of water and earth, and without it, there won't be the nature ecosystem that we could live in. These Dewi Pertiwi sculptures speak of the environment and earth that we live in and serve as somewhat reminders. So, incidentally, the notion of Dewi Pertiwi becomes an intriguing matter that could be explored further in art practices, including in curatorial works. As curator Camilla Bahdar from Singapore and I were accepted in a curator online residency titled Virtual Workings for Southeast Asian Emerging Curators, which was co-developed by the Japan Foundation Bangkok and the Asia Europe Foundation ASEF. We elaborated the given theme resilience to become Pertiwi, the Mother Earth. So let me share the website. This one, yeah. So the Virtual Workings Residency So the Virtual Workings Residency involved mentoring from a senior creator, and for the theme resilience, we had Lukhana Kunavichayanon from Bangkok, Thailand. Here we were asked to explore the theme and what could be a possible contemporary outcome, as the theme also reflects the current pandemic situation. Thus, as curators filled with curiosities, we did research, jot down through virtual tools because we cannot see each other. And as Bahtar and I are very invested in language, we decided to start compiling visuals alongside words that we think reflects on resilience. Our initial ideas came from two matters of our current researchers, which is mine was the Dewi Pertiwi from Nyana's artworks from Bali, and then hers was the sacred dish in Malay tradition from Singapore, such as pulut kuning. The commonality of these notions lie in to look at the theme of resilience through the lens of culture and spiritualism within the context of Bali and Singapore, rather than just as an act of quick recovery and as the ability of a substance or object to spring back into shape. As a beginning, we decided to use Pertiwi as the title of the project, as it is the common thread of interest in Dewi Pertiwi as Mother Earth and national personification of Indonesia and Malaysia. From here, we then look through it by the different lens of culture, spirituality, and environment. So here, the heritage of the Dewi Pertiwi sculptures from Nyana opened up the conversation. From all the data collecting, we decided to form the website, as you can see here, and it is continuously updated. So instead of a conventional exhibition that would exist within a time span, this one would probably exist forever. And during the residency, we were asked to update our progress every week by producing a post for the ASF Instagram, and this video was one of them. So basically, the website is filled with all what we found and the things that we want to share, engage with people later on. So we wanted to make it as interactive as possible. So we provide the Linktree website link that you saw just now, how I click it, and I will share it later on. So once you click it, you found this video. So it catches your attention like you enter an exhibition. This video shows the meeting of Nyana's sculpture, depictions of Dewi Pertiwi and cooking pulut kuning. To us, it embodied the encounter in finding more ingredients to explore what could be the resilience to be offered to the public audience in this time of times. Within it, we inserted selected words from the glossary we have built, connecting the dots further in developing our theme. So it is hoped with this form of website, we could reach more people in this time of time and sharing thoughts to each other and spreading the Pertiwi inspiration further. So I'll go through a bit on the website. So you can see here, this is the home page. And you can click about us here or here. So in here, you can see who is behind Pertiwi, which has a Zoom screenshot of us with our mentor and the process. And so what's interesting from what we go through in our residency, so it started with the word resilience, but it became many vocabularies. And then some of the things that we wanted, we wrote here, we wanted to center relations in our understanding of resilience, that our resilience and well-being was our mutual interdependence with others and our environment, and that subsequently to focus on forms and acts of collective care. So well-being and collective care was also themes that we explore within the residency at the time. And since it's a residency, usually you meet people, but since you cannot meet people at a time, so we did a virtual sort of online questionnaires. And we wanted to focus it with people from Asian countries. So we had 30 participants then, 30 respondents. So in the questionnaire, we asked about their experiences in the past year, which is during the pandemic, the first pandemic year, and then how it has affected them, how they've taken care of themselves, the community care that they go through, and what resilience means to them. And actually, from the results of these questionnaires, it added more glossaries for us to enrich this Pertiwi website.
Sorry, Bu Savitri, you have 1 minute left. Already 10 minutes for your presentation. Maybe you can conclude of your presentation. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll just wrap it up then. So yeah, these are the glossaries you can see here. And then one of the, result from the questionnaire actually ended up having 3 hitakarna on the website, for example. So here you can see, some of the words, you can see some artist artworks as well. And also you can see, you can try these activities. And if you want to join, please do. And we have the pulut kuning recipe that you can try. So thank you so much for the opportunity, and you may contact me here. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, that was outstanding presentation by Savitri Sastrawan, who found that Yana sculptures was not really an artwork. It is filled with spiritual thinkings and expression. His work with the title Dewi Pertiwi are filled with surrealism, not only its elegant carved shape being different from traditional Balinese method, but also its mysterious narration about the goddess itself. Thank you, Ibu Savitri. The audience, if you have any question about Nyana sculpture, you can ask via chat room on the Zoom platform. And we go to the second speaker. I would like to invite Bapak Iketut Suparto MSI with the title of the presentation is Musical Crossing Between the Balinese Gamelan and Gendang Belek Art in Lombok, West of Nusa Tenggara. Okay, Bapak Suparto, we give you opportunity to present your presentation approximately 10 minutes. Good afternoon, Bapak Suparto. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon. Can you hear my voice?
Okay, I can hear your voice clearly. Time is yours, Bapak Suparto.
Thank you for giving me the chance to present my research. So, and this time I would like to present this, our little article. This apart from my proposal research. So I just directly okay. The title of the research is musical crossing between the Balinese gamelan and Gendang Bele arts in Lombok, West Nusa Tenggara. So in this research, Gendang Bele as an object. That's why, because the Gendang Bele actually it's very popular art in Lombok. As we know, almost all the Lombok people knowing it. Actually, there are many kind of traditional art or culture in Lombok, but one of the it's very famous art, music art, I mean, it's called Gendang Bele. That's why this kind of art has become art icon in Lombok Island. So everybody knowing Gendang Bele art in Lombok. Actually, when we are talking about the musical crossing, so the beginning, we can explain this from the diversity. Lombok society consists of several ethnic compounds, have art and culture that are different from each other. The existence of life, especially in the field of music or musical art, the most dominant are Sasak and Balinese ethnic music, influence each other, resulting in a very harmonious life of the artist and society. The unique thing can we find in Lombok? For example, the Sasak people are very good at playing Balinese gamelan. The Balinese people are used to playing Sasak music instrument. It means that the Balinese also that's a very clever, very good to playing the Sasak music also. The transformation of Balinese rhythm into Sasak gamelan and the influence of the style or Sasak musical style into the Balinese gamelan. Yeah, this is my slide. It's a temple art performing.
Sorry,
This is located.
Bapak Suparte,
Yes.
I can't see your slide.
Okay, let me see. Okay, let me. Did you see my slide already?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, I already.
So I'm
see
sorry.
your slide.
So this is the slide temple art performing. This is located in Lingsa Temple. Actually, in this temple, in every temple festival ceremony, is not only attended by the Hindu people or Balinese people, but also the Sasak people together make like a praying together. they have a special temple they call Kemali. So there are many kind of attraction in this event. This is, for example, how the musical crossing was influenced. I mean, the Balinese, especially the Balinese music was influenced. The Sasak music, especially Dangli. We can see in this temple art performing or temple art festival in Lingsar temple. So, according to David Hermes' article, isn't this nice? It's just like being in Bali. Construction Balinese music culture in Lombok explains some kind of traditional Lombok music in one of his except Lombok Balinese music type style can be seen as being one of three types. One, those with antecedent in Bali. Second, those with antecedent from the Sasak majority of Lombok. The third, those co-created with the Sasak. So, actually this article, we can take, I mean, we can take this explanation to prove that actually the Lombok people, I mean the Lombok arts working in Lombok, that was from Sasak identity music art, and then another was construction of Balinese idea. That's why this Sasak identity art and the Bali identity arts, they mix together, or they create together, they collaborate together, and then mix some performance, or especially in the arts performance, art music. That's why we call that musical crossing in the Gedang Beli art. I mean, that's the situation was influence how the Gedang Beli created. The Gedang Beli created actually was influenced by the Sasak identity music art and the Balinese identity art, especially in musical instrument like tone, like Balinese say laras and melody, rhythm. They try to adopt that musical Balinese musical, and then to create in a kind of Gedang Beli art. That's why we call this is musical crossing in Gedang Beli art. From this explanation, I think it's this is we call the gap analysis. So this is so many dynamica. Yeah? Dynamica was from that situation. One thing that the dominant of Balinese music stand out, and the second level of unity or keutuhan, level of sincerity, intensity, the level of complexity of the Balinese musical element has not been beautifully integrated in this composition. It means that how the Sasak composer, when they took the Balinese musical, I think it's not, we can say this is bad, but there is something like unity, intensity, and complexity. It's not good great. I mean, it's not looking as good as well. That's the dynamic. That's why it's a fear that the combination or crossover of musical in the Gedang Beli art will cause the erosion of the original composition from of the gendang blade. Yeah, in this slide, I think we can take some conclusion. So the positive thing from musical crossing in gendang blade it can be okay, can improve so many organized of gendang blade art in Lombok. But the negative impact is actually this is if we are not conscious that become the gendang blade, the original gendang blade, so will cause the erosion. So maybe time by time, maybe so many young generation will not like with the original gendang blade. Maybe
Sorry, Pak
I
Ketut
can
Suparto.
get yes.
Sorry, you have 1 minute left for your presentation. Maybe you can explain your presentation in the Q&A session. You have 1 minute left for your presentation. Thank you.
Okay. I continue. The problem is how the cross form of Balinese Sasak music in the gendang blade art in Lombok. What is the form of integration between the Balinese and Sasak ethnicity? And then I directly continue to the result and analysis. Okay, this is result and analysis. The tone and sound of the gendang blade use the paudan genggong. So, because according elder of gendang blade artists, the tone generated by the gendang blade was influenced by the genggong instrument. This is we talk about the original gendang blade before this new gendang blade or creation gendang blade. The gendang blade are which receive Balinese musical influence generally use tone laras pelok. The generally gendang blade actually use the laras pelok or the pelok tone. But the new creation of gendang blade, they already developed with many kind of we can say tone or something because was influenced by the Balinese music. Okay, continue. The facts say that people of Lombok are used the voicing gamelan with a voice like the Balinese gamelan name Titilaras Ding Dong. We can see this table. Okay, this only the difference. I mean, the different tone can we compare here. Tone Balinese pelok like dong, deng, dung, dang, ding. But in Sasak vocal or voice, they can, I mean, they sing the tone with neng, nung, nang, ning, nong. Yeah, this is similar actually with the Balinese vocal, but the different thing, they just take a back interval from the laras pelok. For example, dong. Dong is become neng in Sasak voice. Deng is become nung. Dong is become neng. Dang is become ning, and ding is become nong. Actually, there is already founded the symbol of the notation by the Taman Budaya Office in Lombok, but I think this is not so representative because so this is just only the symbol, but we cannot sing the music art like E, U, A, I, O. That's why I think this is just only the symbol, but we cannot sing the music art, especially the gendang blade art with the E, U, A, I, O. But this notation was founded by the Taman Budaya Office. Yeah, this is another form of cross musical style, cross musical element, cross musical composition, cross personnel. So there are many kind of cross happen. It's not only in music but also in personnel, in some other element thing like instruments. So they changed already when they show the Balinese like the gong kubiar or balaganjur. So that's why they was influenced by that kind of instruments. So this is the conclusion. A musical crossing between Balinese gamelan and Sasak music in Lombok is combination some of musical elements such as tune, melody, rhythm, Balinese laras, and some other technique in creativity of Gendang Beli art. The integration of culture form in Gendang Beli in Lombok has positive value on this rise of the regional art in Lombok. It is proven by the growth of the Gendang Beli art from the local field, national, until finally reaching the international field, in addition to combination of Sasaknese and Balinese art to occurs. So I think that's all. So thank you for attention. So before closing, I would like to get some correction or some answer, maybe some critique. So in order my research become more perfect, something like that. So thank you very much for the time.
Well, thank you, Bapak Suparte. Could you stop share screen? Thank you. That was valuable research of Bapak Suparte. The presentation is to highlight the issues that Balinese and Sasak music could play a significant role in integrating those ethnic groups in harmonious and peaceful ways. And once again, I remind you all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, you can ask via chat room of the platform Zoom. And next, we would like to invite Ibu Sri Wahyuning Septarina MDS to convey her presentation entitled An Interdisciplinary Approach Identity Design of Indonesia Cultural Art Studios. Ibu Sri Wahyuning, can you hear me?
Hello, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, Ibu Sri Wahyuning.
Yes.
You have 10 minutes to present your presentation, and time is yours.
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to express our humblest gratitude towards Professor Dr. Iwayan Kun Adiana as a rector of ISI Denpasar, and then Professor Dr. Andes M. Dwi Marianto, Master of Fine Art, as a reviewer, and Nika Dekuyana, Master of Humanities, as our moderator today. All fellow presenters and speakers at this session, and also to all attendants. This research was written by myself, Sri Wahyuning Septarina, as the first author, and my partner Jessica Irena as the second author. Our honored audience, please allow me to begin our presentation. The title is An Interdisciplinary Approach Identity Design of Indonesian Culture Art Studio. Next slide. Honored guests, please allow me to begin this presentation with some pictures. These images displayed here are the actually example of dance, literary arts, music, performing arts, and fine arts, which are parts of cultural arts, as quote from Kentucky Journal, Education, Arts, and Humanity, on September 1999. And the next slides. Here and our next slide. On the left slide, the several art studio logos which represent those arts and culture in Indonesia in previous slides. As you can see here, people are attempting to depict those different forms of arts in form of logo and symbol. Our guests. What are you opinion about this? What are you opinion about these logos? Do you think that they have optimized enough to convey the diversity of our actual arts? Even though, as quotes from online newspaper in Indonesia on February 12, 2021, the chairperson of the People Consultative Assembly, Puan Maharani, said that the culture diversity in essence of Indonesia, so it can be said that cultural diversity is Indonesian wealth and strength, which must be guarded. If you look at the logos, even though they were made, they haven't been able to represent our entire culture diversity. And then the next slide. Kenalan. Quote from a journal. Quote from a journal. From Amri 2014. The academic paper of the academic paper of the 2011 Culture Draft Law of the Republic Indonesia states there are four problems with contemporary Indonesian culture, namely, first, the inability of our nation characteristic to keep up our economic development, and then second, optimized cultural diversity management, and the third, deliberately declining nation identity, and the fourth, inefficient cultural wealth management commitment. The point of this research is not to find mistakes, who, what, why, but to find the best solution to maintain the diversity of arts and culture through art studio throughout Indonesia by making a logo design master to be applied to the art studio logo. So on the next slide. As a house of culture melting pot from hundreds of different ethnics and country, Indonesia multicultural aspect stand out among us. Thus we argue that it's our unique identity as a country. However, identity needs a space to be communicated, so we need to integrate it, diversity of our culture and value to preserve the traditional culture of Indonesia and pass them through generations. We choose the method which we use to do so is a qualitative descriptive method, similar to pragmatism paradigm, which emphasizes the process of entire instead of the research result. We also use unstructured observation as a preferred data collecting technique in order to able to see development in said fields. Interdisciplinary work in a work field such as history and sociology is needed to obtain a critical theory that is able to describe effective design, said Baldwin and Roberts in 2006, page 30. And then therefore the approach used this study is interdisciplinary approach because the interdisciplinary is a combination of several fields of study, said Stenberg on 1991, page 4.
Okay, so I am going to continue our presenter. So here, okay, please move to the previous slide. Okay, so here is the model of our research. As you can see, we attempted to integrate various fields here. A national identity needs visualization to convey So the author seeks to unite and bridge the diversity of Indonesia into an integrated identity. The form of identity in question is in the form of logo. So this research is called an interdisciplinary field between visual communication and cultural arts to produce cultural identity. Indonesia culture and history, which is conveyed through visual communication using aspects of cultural arts, covering the arts of music, theater, fine arts, dance, and literary arts. And also over here we can see there's semiotics, which is used to process the merging of all of the above aspects to adjust the diversity values into a logo and sign. And finally, the resulting logo can be used to convey the cultural identity of Indonesia as a nation. Okay, so over here, you can see three different parts that is the most important things or field inside of our research. The first thing is visual communication. So visual communication broadly includes all kinds of communication using the sense of sight. And then we have semiotics field over here to depict the logo and symbol accordingly to the diversity of culture that we choose. And then finally, we can represent all of those arts and culture that we choose to indicate our identity. Okay, now I'm gonna explain a little bit about visual communication. Visual communication broadly includes all kinds of communication using the sense of sight. So, according Aileo and Pari in 2020, visual communication affects people using social and psychological factors. So the true meaning of artifact or object will only become real when it is created and made and also reshaped when it is consumed. This is what we know as popular culture, according to Baldwin and Roberts in 2006. Therefore, we think it is necessary to have visual communication to represent the cultural diversity of Indonesian in order to be able to convey its value and meaning in their entirety. Next, I'm going to explain a little bit about semiotics. So it's a really famous theory, according to Charles Persia. So semiotic is used as an instrument to communicate the identity that characterizes Indonesia. Because semiotics is a very important part of visual communication, we use Charles Persia's view and as in semiotics as a social process, because the national identity comes from the obvious social processes of society in the form of history, culture, and cultural arts. So in here are the design that we've made to represent all of the identity and culture in Indonesia. We have dance. So over here you can see the design that we used to depict a dancer in Indonesia. And we have a dance pose that depicts to represent all of the dances that are part of Indonesia culture. So the meaning of the dance pose, according to Per's analysis, is an icon of human daily activities, harvesting, and acrobatics. That is according to Blazes in 2019. And then on the right side of the slide, we have musical representation. The musical instrument here is gamelan, which symbolizes one of the strengths of the rhythm and tone of music that is the controller of the series. It is also represent traditional music that is well known in the entire world. Okay, another logo that we've made here is for theater arts. Here we depict the audience in theater arts because it symbolizes the social interaction contained in an art performance. Well, as you can see, a show cannot be called theater if there is no audience. Therefore, audience is a very important element in theater arts. On the right side of the slide, you can see a literature, which is depicted in the form of manuscript. So the form of manuscript paper symbolizes a form of literary arts. Manuscript that have existed since antiquity indicates that the age of the manuscript is quite old. The manuscript here have contributed to preserving Indonesian culture. Now here are the color that we use to design our logo. So color is one of the most important elements in art. The gold color here symbolizes cultural diversity, which is part of the nation's invaluable wealth. And then we also have white here. The white here represents a combination of color in hope for the better, richer, and wiser we become in maintaining and preserving the nation's culture. And then lastly, we have dark red color that have a deep meaning of professionalism, and also bravery. On the right side is the combination of all of the logo that we've created just now. So we combine them into a master logo. Okay, so here are our conclusions. Starting from the elaboration of the cultural diversity of Indonesia using interdisciplinary method, then processing to use visual communication and semiotic as a means to convey the value and characteristic of Indonesian art and culture, we use a logo to represent our national identity. Well, indeed, our design is far from perfect. However, we hope that we could develop cultural identity design in the future. The development can be in the form of details of each of the field of art and culture in order to be more unique and can be adjusted based on the need of each art and cultural studio. The precious ancient tradition of archipelago have been passed down from generation to generation. We can pass them on through various expressions, not only in the form of journals and history books, but also in the form of art, object abstraction, and symbols. The symbol can be used in any art studio or cultural location without compromising the aesthetic value or the tradition itself. Hopefully, we can contribute in helping to bridge the dynamic of Indonesian cultural diversity through the artistic aspect. So it is expected to be able to contribute to cultural preservation in the future. Okay, this research is not possible without the references that we use, mostly from journals taken from other researchers and academicians. We hope to continue contributing towards the educational world in the future. So that's all for our presentation. Here are the other references. Yeah. So that's all for our presentation. Thank you very much, our respected audiences.
Okay, thank you very much for Ibu Sri Wahyuning and team. That was impressive presentation by Ibu Sri Wahyuning and also researcher teams. They found that the elaboration of the cultural diversity of the Indonesians using interdisciplinary method, then proceeding to use visual communication and semiotic as a means to convey the value and characteristic of Indonesian art and culture through a national identity logo design. And also Ibu Septarina and the team has bridged the dynamic of Indonesian culture diversity through the aesthetic aspect, so that it is expected to be able to contribute to cultural preservation in the future. Thank you very much for your presentation. And now we move to the next presentation. Last but not least, we would like to invite Ibu Rosa Rosida from Master Program of Art ISI Surakarta to convey her presentation entitled The Position of Tauh Dance in the Traditional Wedding Ceremony of the People of Rantau Pandan Village, Bungo Regency, Jambi Province. Ibu Rosa Rosida? Okay. I got information Ibu Rosa Rosida didn't join for the Zoom meeting. So we next to the program of Q&A session. I'd like to check the chat room. Okay, because there's no question addressed to the presenter, and if you don't mind, I'd like to give question to all of distinguished speaker. Okay, Ibu Septarina, Bapak Ketut Suparte, it is possible for me to give a little bit question for you. All of the participants and all of the speaker, I'd like to give you a question, and all of you already done amazing research. According to your research, what is achievement or what is your expectation that have not been made in this research? Yes, please, first answer by Ibu Savitri. According to your research, what is your achievement or expectation have been done?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So what is the expectation? Actually it has been it's what do you call it? It's coincident and very interesting at the same time because I think I got the proposal to do the book on Ide Bagusnyana quite early on in 2020, where we didn't know that we're gonna be hit by the pandemic. So once I received news again in the middle of the year, and they said that it's a what do you call it? It's a green light on the writing. So yeah, as I presented, it was a lot of there were challenges, restrictions, and I wasn't sure if I was able to write it because of the whole restrictions and everything. And I think in the full paper I mentioned how the places that I found where Nyana's works existed, they're very open to basically like it took a while to able to go to the what do you call it go to the sources and see the sculptures, but eventually we got it. So it's like it was sort of a miracle that it was possible to be done. And I think with and also the opportunity of joining virtual working, it was through an open call. So we didn't expect that we get it, and eventually we got it, and eventually we did it. So it was a very interesting time, and it was a very interesting topic to be talked about and to be shared. So it's also very nice that today I get to present it in my as an alumni in Misi Denpasar.
Okay, wish me luck, Ibu Savitri.
Thank you.
Okay, for Bapak Suparte, maybe could you explain, share what is your achievement that have not been made in this research?
Okay, thank you for the time. Actually, my expectation, of course, that to get passed as soon as possible, because this article is apart from my dissertation proposal. That's why my expectation is how to get a pass as soon as possible, of course. And beside that, of course, that from my research, so I try to, how to say that, I try to make this issue, because I think this music crossing between Sasak and Balinese people in Lombok. So this is a very positive issue, Why? Because as we know, in this era, sometimes we often hear that so many we can say like racist, something like that. Probably in this research can prove that between the I'm sorry, between the Muslim and Hindu. So with this kind of with this research can prove that they can live together. With this artworking, they can live together. Because why not? They can create, like Sasak and Balinese people in Lombok, they create together. They make something like music art and dance, something like that. That's proof that between the Sasak and Balinese in Lombok, it's very harmonious life, It's very harmonious. That's why I would like to take this issue become a national issue. It's, of course, this I think it is impact. Maybe we can give something. Is the point is from this research can be gives something its value to our government. I think that's all. So thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Pak Suparto, you have one more question addressed to you from Bapak Nyoman Sedane. Pak Suparto, what is the best way to explain the difference between gamelan in Bali and Lombok?
Okay, thank you, Bapak Professor Nyoman Sedane. He was also my promoter. So thank you very much for give me some motivation, something like that. Because, however, is so many. I mean, this. I mean, he's is very smart to give some correction or something like that to be more perfect, of course, my proposal. So I would like to answer your question. I will try. So what is the different thing that we can find in Sasak music and Balinese music? As in the result of my research, explaining that the first thing we can say how the Balinese people singing the gamelan or karawitan with the aksara ding dong. Actually, this kind of I mean this kind of rang, or Balinese say that rang, or a voice from that tone, it's not so different with the Lombok people, especially Sasak people. But they have how to say that in English. If in Bali they sing a tone like dong deng dong dang ding, but in Lombok they have similar, but the different tone actually, like neng nong nang ning nong. Rang is similar. We can hear that rang is very similar, but actually it's different. It's not. They didn't use like pengangenet aksara ding dong. For a moment they use only the notation from the Taman Budaya office. But I'm not sure that we can sing the song from A, I, U, E, O. That's why I say that just only the symbol. But the similar thing that from Balinese voice and Lombok, especially Sasak people, how to sing the gamelan, I think it's similar but different. How to say that? Like I give some example. Dong deng dong dang ding. That's Balinese. That's a pelog tune. But the Sasak people, they sing that with neng nong nang ning nong. For example, I give you like a Panjem Rama song, yeah. Dong derong dong deng dorang deng dang, like that. But the Lombok people, especially Sasak people, they sing that like neng norang nang nong naring nong ning, yeah. That's the different thing between what's the difference between Balinese music and Sasak music. I think that's all. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Pak Suparto.
Thank you very much.
Now we move to the next question from Bapak Sedane again, addressed to Ibu Septa. What is the best way to visualize the authenticity of Balinese culture as opposed to other culture, say for example Jawa?
Okay, so I'm gonna answer Professor Dr. Inyoman Sedana's question. So to answer the question, in order to visualize the uniqueness of Balinese culture, of course we need to start from the unique things and also authentic things that we have in Bali itself. Let's say, for example, we have Balinese gamelan, and also we have this batik that can only be found in Bali itself. Like, for example, geringsing batik. And then to answer your question and apply them in our own logo that we've designed just now, is that to to use them in the depiction of the person, and then the theater, literature, and then musical symbol that we've designed. And maybe we can just input those authenticity inside of the logo itself. Like for example, we have dance art just now. For the dance art, we use a person dancing to show that they are the authentic culture of Indonesia. If you want to apply Balinese culture to the dance art, then maybe we should use the traditional clothing of Bali, and maybe attributes such as accessories and things towards the dancer logo that we've made just now. And also for the musical parts, we can use gamelan, Bali gamelan, to represent its authenticity, and also its pattern, and also its shapes. As for the theater literature, for the theater and literature, we can use the actual Balinese audiences to show that, oh, this is actually how Balinese audiences are, to represent each of the audiences. And also for the literature, we can use different culture of literature in Balinese, so that maybe we can show them the unique things about Bali. And lastly, we also have color. For the color, there are a lot of things that can be used to represent Bali, because I believe that Bali are so rich of color and arts. But one of them that popped out in our head is that we can use the coloring of Kuring batik as a traditional coloring for this logo and symbols. So yeah, that's to answer your question, Professor. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Septarina. And the last question addressed to Ibu Savitri. Are you able to share ideas and how should Balinese dancer make a lot of money like of Balinese painter and sculptors? Okay, please, Ibu Savitri.
Interesting question.
Yes.
But I don't think I can give a certain answer on that, because I'm not. I'm more in the fine art rather than in the performance art. But I think it really depends on the situation. I mean, I think with being painters and sculptors, it's also not that easy to make a lot of money unless you're very well known already. I think in all arts, it's pretty much really depends on the situation and condition and where you sort of work at, kind of thing. And I mean, I guess my experience as a Balinese myself, and I did do some dances back when I was in uni in London. But I think how do you describe it? Like, it really depends. Like, it really depends on the what do you call it? The event organizer, how they how do they ask it voluntarily or not? So it really depends. And I think it's not. I think in the art and the fine art is not that easy either. It really, as I said, it really depends on what is your position, the situation, the condition. If you're a well-known artist already, then you're probably in a very big gallery or a very well-known museum, and you can sell your work very high. But if you're an emerging artist, it doesn't really apply just yet. And really depends on I think in the arts, it really depends on the networking as well, where you really bring yourself and sort of present yourself and promote yourself. Maybe, hopefully that answers.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Savitri. And that's all the Q&A session, and also close the panel session for today's. I would like to express my gratitude for attending the conference, and I congratulate to all of call paper speakers who have successfully presented your papers. And I end closing greeting for today by Paramasanti, Om Santi 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 Om. And back to the event, to my beautiful Master of Ceremony, Dewi Cempaka.
Thank you very much for our very best moderator for today. So thank you also for all the presenters in the second sessions of this conference, of the third day of the Global Arts Creativity Conference, Bali-Bhuwana, Waskita, with the themes Perspective, Environment, New Paradigm Evolutions in Your Art Field, Link with the Environment, Impact of a New Technique, Media and Technologies, as well as Reinventions of the Past. And we would like to address a very big thanks to all the participants who joins us from the first day, the second day, until the third day of today. And we do apologize if there is inconvenience conditions during this event. And we do hope that we will see you again for another event for the conference or international conference, which giving you a really great information. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we also want to say that the certificate, the link of the certificate and also the attendance list would be available after this program or after this event. We want to see you again for the next of the event. Thank you so much. I'm Champaka. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a nice day and goodbye.
Thank you.